Thank you so much, Brenda. We are so excited to have you as our new board chair. I think she's going to be amazing. Please join me in another round of applause for Brenda. We look forward to our work together. So welcome to the 17th Annual Supportive Housing Conference. Thank you all so much for being here today. We have a packed room, which is always wonderful to see. We really want to thank all of our amazing panelists and moderators and volunteers. This takes a lot of work to put on, and we couldn't do it without you. And I also want to recognize the devoted staff of the network. Many of you know them. They watch over every detail, so thank you so much. And I'd also like to thank my board, who is always incredibly supportive and really helps us get the work done. Thank you. So while preparing for today, I have been looking back at what has been a remarkable year. I am so happy not to be talking about a memorandum of understanding. Woo! Everyone should have on their table 35K buttons. That is to really celebrate what we collectively have gotten done as a community, which is 35,000 units over the next 15 years by the city and the state of New York. So please put your buttons on, take some back to the office. So we've gotten out the first RFPs for both the city and state supportive housing programs. We are on our way to creating these many units throughout the state of New York, which is terrific. We're so thrilled to have a solid supportive housing program that can reach every county in the state. And so we have much ahead of us today, many workshops that you'll be hearing about that will help us get on the road and really look at new practices, financing, development, and emerging topics that we'd love to have a moment to talk with you about. So although still many challenges and a lot of road ahead, we also had the big surprise in November with the presidential election. We are still obviously feeling the impact of that event, and while we confront what is a very inhumane budget on the housing and urban development front, I know that we as a community will be challenging our federal government to do better. And we have the safety net of the most vulnerable people in the city and the state, and they deserve much more. So we will be fighting together for both homeless services and supportive housing on the federal level for the next 4 years. We are a force to be reckoned with, and we really get our strength from our roots. At our gala this past fall, we had the honor of seeing and talking to our founders of supportive housing, who we honored. And it really was their beginnings in seeing when homelessness was really becoming very visible in the 1970s. And it was an inspired group of faith leaders, community organizers, and social workers who decided to do something about it. Against all odds, single-room occupancy hotels were preserved, and buildings were transformed into places of hope. Not long after supportive housing was born, people across the country recognized this amazing model. Given a stable home and social services, people who have experienced the traumas of homelessness, substance abuse, chronic health issues can regain the control of their lives and start off on a new foot. Elected officials, and I want to just really honor the state and city of New York, because elected officials, particularly here, recognize the value and got it done. They started the first programs across the country, and we are so pleased with our ongoing partnership with both the city and the state. So thank you so much. So I had the fortunate opportunity leaving college to actually witness this myself. I was a Jesuit volunteer for a year, living with other volunteers on the Lower East Side and working at Brooklyn Catholic Charities. And I was the activities specialist at one of their newly renovated supportive housing occupancy buildings. And that work showed me what the community could build. And actually back then, the SRO model, which we really don't do anymore, but it was intended to get people to join together. So the room was small, but there were common areas on all the floors and the shared bathrooms and kitchens. And so because the city at that time only funded clinical services, Catholic Charities really saw the value of having someone there to really get people to socialize and get to know each other after being so isolated in their homelessness. So I became the director the next year, and I found myself, like many others, realizing that I needed support. Phone calls were made and to other nonprofits who were also struggling in this very new time. I got to lean on Connie Temple. I got to call Stephen Russo and Ellen Baxter and the Fathers John to see how they were doing. I got to attend trainings with Tony Hannigan and other faith-based providers, and we were all really trying to figure it out. On the practical side, we realized that each of us faxing our legislators was probably not the most efficient use of time, so we decided that we needed an advocacy group to really support us on the road, and that's how the SRO providers, now known as the network, was born. As we face the challenges ahead, I think back on that time with deep gratitude and fondness. My faith is bolstered by the incredible and extraordinary people that are in this room and by how we can collectively, with the people who we serve, really uplift them. So we are all in this together. Drawing from our strength, from our roots, we will continue to challenge the injustices and push the boundaries and innovative policies and programs that can end homelessness. So we have an amazing day for you today. I am very personally excited about our workshop content. So many of the rooms will be videotaped or recorded. So if you can't clone yourself, you can go to our website in about a week and catch everything that you missed. And of course, the day ends with a cocktail party at 5. Please join us. So thank you very much. So speaking of pushing boundaries, I am very honored to introduce Assemblymember Andrew Hevesy. We knew we had a champion when Andy came to our office a couple of years ago and heard our story and said, I love that. That is extraordinary. I want to be a part of that. How can I help you? Like, he was all about it. But he didn't just talk about it. He actually organized tons of meetings over months with the state assembly, with the state senate, to get them to sign on to a letter of support asking the governor to commit to building the 20,000 units of supportive housing. Our campaign relied on him, and he came to many, many activities and events, press conferences and forums, and he was always there to lend a hand and his voice to our cause. So please join me in welcoming Assemblymember Andrew Hevesy.